Yo, what's going on, people? You're watching the Unity sessions live and direct on TLDTV. I'm joined today by the legend, MC Tempo. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, good, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm all good. So we're back again, Unity sessions. Can't help but be good from that. So this man right here is a legend. Gotta say that just to start off. And you know already, nobody get offended, but you know that's not how I regularly start interviews, by calling people legends. So that's a moment. You know why I call you a legend?
Because I'm old.
No, not because you're old. Because this guy, like literally, no matter what corner of the country or wherever you go to, like if you yell out MC Tempo loud enough, somebody will yell back, I know him. There is kind of one of those guys that's always had an influence, and say, especially over the new school acts and such that are coming in, there's always somebody that'd be like, Tempo, wait, is that the brother that? And everyone's kind of has a kind of knowledge or background of you, man. I think you've touched a lot of lives in your time and such. So
bless you, man.
Bless you, bro. Let's take it back then. So not as far as baby Tempo, but those years before you came to Christ and such. So where were you at? What were you doing?
Yeah, so yeah, I grew up in Brighton. When I was about 12, my parents started to separate and get divorced and stuff. I couldn't really handle that very well, so I had all this internal hurt and pain, and I just started lashing out in school. As a result, I got thrown out of 4 schools in 4 years.
Wow. How did you find school? Like, were you one of those kids you kind of liked school, or was it escape? How did you interpret it?
I didn't like school, I didn't fit in. You know, they didn't work with me in terms of the issues which were really going on in my life. You know, they're driven on results, which I understand, but you know, if you've got a kid kicking off in school, it's not about, I'll throw him out of school because he's kicking off. It's about sitting down with him and saying, well, actually, what's going on with you? Why are you kicking off? And I mean, working you through that sort of stuff pastorally. You know, this is where churches are so good and stuff, but back then, school pastoral systems weren't all that, to be fair.
So eventually, you just like stopped going to school, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, I got thrown out of school right up to my GCSEs. So.
Okay, so you're out of school, now you've got some time to fill.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What
did you do?
Yeah, just rolling with other people thrown out of school, so getting in with the wrong crowd really. Like getting in with them and their older brothers and everything else, and still trying to find out my own identity, I guess, as a young man.
Yeah.
Started getting into drugs, started getting into drug dealing, to fund the habit, and yeah, life wasn't too hot.
Because for people who, I guess, don't know, and then for me myself, it might just be different, especially coming from a Brighton perspective. How does that kind of pathway go? Do you feel like it was something that changed in you that caused you to get into that, or was it just, it was the environment, it was the climate?
I think it was probably the climate, like the people I was sort of rolling with at the time. You know, if you're a teenager and there's 7 of you in the room, and someone's passing a bong around, and 6 people are smoking this tube, sort of thing, and they're passing it to you, you don't really want to be the odd one out to say no. Do you know what I mean? It can be that sort of thing. So indirect peer pressure. Then you've got the whole alpha male thing sort of rolling in, and who can smoke the most, who can do all that sort of thing. And as a result of that comes addiction stuff, and on the back of that, heavier drugs, and then doing things to get the money to fund the habit.
So was that the motivation for selling? Or?
Yeah, I think primarily. Yeah, it's just like, I think when you're a teenager, you don't always know what you want, sort of thing, but you don't have long-term vision. You see the immediate future, you see tomorrow, maybe next week, but that's about as far as it goes. Do you know what I mean?
And that links us nicely to the Generation Distortion project that we can get deeper into in a bit. I want to kind of see a bit more to how we got there in terms of this project though. So you're out of school, you're taking drugs, you're selling drugs, you're doing what you can to fund the habit. How would you describe how you feel at this point? Are you happy? Is this the life that you wanted? Are you content with the status and everything else you've got at this point? How do you feel?
No, I wasn't happy. I wasn't content at all, far from it. I thought I was, to an extent, but certainly not in its entirety. Yeah, I was doing all this stuff, thinking it would fill a hole in my soul, but it never really did. It's just like a temporary sort of, temporary sort of fix, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't feel it did bring you happiness. I'm curious just because I remember being kind of young, and I'd say I chose what I'd feel like is maybe the right path most of the time in that element, but I never really had a feeling like one was terrible and one was awesome. I just kind of didn't want to get caught. was the real reason behind it and what comes with that. Because often it's quite branded, you know, you kind of see what the image is. I remember like there were kids, I say kids, when at the time we didn't think of ourselves as kids, but we were like 15, you don't think of yourself as a kid. I'm like aspired as being like the top drug dealer on the ends and that kind of thing. It was always something to look up to and aspire to. How would you view that from the lens that you have now?
Gosh, yeah. I think the aspiration of young people these days is a little bit warped. You know, it's all about fame and popularity and how many likes you get, how many followers you've got, or whatever. You know,
by the way, like, share, subscribe. Yeah. Yeah, but carry on.
Yeah, just delete all my followers. Just keep me humble, bro.
Yeah.
It works.
That's cool. So you're in this state because at some point in your life you become a Christian rapper. So where's this grey bit in between? Was there like a big thing that kind of happened while living this life that made you switch, or was it just a natural progression?
Yeah. So and I guess I've done a number of life events, you might call them. So I think for me, losing my hearing in my left ear was massive. Rapping at an illegal rave on an illegal rig. You know, there were no sound restrictions or anything like that. That cost me my hearing in my left ear. My little sister passed away when I was 18. She was 16. She just died overnight.
Mad.
So that was pretty fierce. I think parents, obviously, like I said, divorcing was quite a bitter pill to swallow. And all this is sort of happening by the age of 18. You're feeling suicidal. You can't. You're doing the maths. You're looking at life, and you're like, well, if this is what life's got, I don't really know if I want the rest of it.
Yeah.
To be fair.
So throughout all this time, you kind of, you know, you're taking, you're dealing. Did you ever get into any trouble with the law, or?
No, I was actually pretty fortunate. You know, I did some pretty bad things. You know, bringing drugs in from Holland and stuff like that. We used to wrap up like E's in Rizzler papers and have them in packs of cigarettes. So like,
don't try this at home, folks.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did some pretty bad things, but was very lucky not to get caught.
Did I think you told me a story once about crossing a border? Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah. So yeah, I used to bring stuff over from Holland on the inside of a suitcase, sort of thing, in the lining in between, for other people, which wasn't the best of things, but yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like, you know, like, I'd say God never advocates, I'd say, like, things are illegal and such, but I think sometimes I meet Christians that almost, it just feels like they've had like an element of grace, wherein, you know, there's guys that have kind of done things that they're not proud of and they could have been locked up, or I mean, even in the context of like they've been in situations where they're selling and someone's pulled a gun on them and gone to shoot them and the gun's jammed, and you just kind of sometimes feel these elements of grace in there, and I kind of feel with you, definitely kind of feel that at the same time as well.
Well, that was Todd White's story, wasn't it? His testimony about he got held at gunpoint, I think, and gun jammed on him, but yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. Sometimes I think we feel like God's either not watching or not in control, and then we kind of look back on it. You just kind of feel His presence in certain situations.
Mm.
Yeah. So then, how do you then eventually become involved with the church, or what happened there?
So I suppose I sort of progressed, if you want to use that sort of phraseology, to staging events, staging waves and stuff like that, and did this little event, and God sent a guy called Sam into the rave, who I got to know. He was a really good guy, and he wore the same trainers as me, listened to the same music as me.
Awesome.
Seemed like a decent guy. And he invited me along to church. You know, at first I told him where to go, but he persevered with me, which is amazing actually. And I was quite a narky sort of guy, you know, and I'm amazed he persevered with me the way he did. And long story short, I went to church. I went to, it used to be called CCK in Brighton. It's now called We Are Emmanuel. And I went in there. I was in the minority crowd up in the balcony, just under 1,000 people in the whole auditorium, and they had an Indian evangelist come on the stage, just started praying, saying, "Oh Jesus, come and heal people, do what you do, God," and all this sort of thing. I thought the guy was mad. And then he pointed up at me and goes, "You're deaf in your left ear, stand up, God wants to heal you." And everyone's all looking up at the balcony like that, and I'm just sitting up there bricking it, just like, there must be someone else here deaf in their left ear. How would he know that? Sam doesn't know that, because I'm too proud to wear a hearing aid around him, do you know what I mean? There's no way he could have known that, unless it was a direct God-given revelation. And then furthermore, I was pretty scared, you know, I was terrified. So I thought I'd wait it out. I thought, I'm not going to stand up, I'm going to make this guy look stupid. So I stayed there, and all this time I was sort of thinking to myself, why would God want to heal me? I'm not even a good person. If this God's even real, you know, I'm surprised I didn't break into flames when I walked into that church. You know, some of the stuff which I've done. And you know, when I thought, why would God want to heal me? He answered the question I was thinking, and he said, "Yeah, you're deaf in your left ear, and God wants to heal you because He loves you."
Wow. So
when he said that, something in my heart just went, and I was just like, my days, that's me. I can't duck this. And I sort of wanted to stay sitting down because I was too scared, but I found myself physically standing up, and I was just like this major conflict of head and heart happening. And I found myself sort of standing up, and he goes, "Come to the front, don't be scared." And I'm just like shaking all the way down there. Got on stage, and he prayed for me, not in the name of Allah or Buddha or stonestatues.com, but in the name of Jesus. And when he did, I blacked out on the floor, and I came round, I had a clapping crystal clear from the side of my head for the first time in years. And
so you literally passed out?
Yeah, I blacked out on the stage. I felt like a heat, like a supernatural heat. So like he prayed for me, he laid his hand on my ear, and it wasn't enough heat to be generated by a human hand. It was like an internal heat almost. It's a bit difficult to describe, but
yeah, I know what you're saying now.
It was quite overwhelming, and yeah, I just sort of flaked out on the stage.
Oh man, yeah, that must have been mad. Because how long did you lost your hearing for? How long did?
It's a good couple of years.
Man, yeah, and I guess you in a way accepted that.
Yeah, I thought that was it. You know. Yeah, I thought, well, yeah, I thought that was me for life.
That's crazy, man. So you had this time, you've been on the underground music circuit, you've been writing bars and such. So then what do you do?
Well, I think one of the unwritten laws of hip hop is keeping it real.
100.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so for me, at this stage in my life, there was nothing and no one more real to me than God, I guess. You know, I was deaf. I was prayed for in the name of Jesus and I was healed. I had to rap about that. I couldn't keep that quiet, sort of thing. So I just started rapping about it, I guess. And yeah, that's sort of what happened.
Wow, man. So then in terms of like, so you're on the underground circuit, you're like rapping to people, like drinking, they're popping pills, everything else in between. What do you then do? Do you still go to those places, or what do you do?
Yeah, so I guess whilst I was on the underground, I built up a bit of a minor reputation, I guess, and I had a number of residencies each month where I play at certain venues, and I'd go back to these venues as I would, and I'd start rapping about Jesus. And people were coming up going, "Are you alright, mate? What are you doing? You're not the same guy, are you?" Like, literally, I've been born again.
And you use the same name, right? You've always been MC Tempo.
No, so long story. Yeah, I used to go under Techno back in the day.
Okay.
And Techno became Tempo. Saul became Paul. Abraham became Abraham.
Yeah, I always wondered. Sometimes it gets a bit weird out here in these streets as well. Guys get saved and become brother and then whatever. Then it was like, yeah, but yeah, Tempo's a nice guy, nice vibe, man. Yeah. So you went from Techno to MC Tempo.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the MC at the start of it. It's what has that flavour.
Cheeky prefix.
Yeah, man. That's nice. It's nice. So yeah, so now you kind of, I mean, when in terms of these conversations, is it so much so that it feels like the gigs are going badly, or are you viewing this as like a positive thing that people are coming up to you and being like, "Yo, what's going on with you?"
I think it was a bit of a mixed reaction, to be fair, Jay. So some people were very intrigued by it and they were asking questions to me about it. And I saw a number of people become Christians as a result of it.
Awesome.
You know, other rappers, other DJs, you know, they'd be like, what do you mean you were deaf? And I was just like, yeah, right, I can pray for you as well if you like. And they're like, yeah, I'll have some of that. You know, it was that sort of thing. You know, talking to clubbers and ravers and just sort of chatting, that sort of thing. Some people didn't react as positively, you know, some were like they're just seeing the pain and the hurt in their life.
Yeah.
And maybe becoming somewhat offended by the fact of there can't be a God because all this stuff's happening in me in my life.
Yeah.
You know, had a few punches.
Man.
Taking a few jerks, bottles wrapped around my head, that sort of stuff. But it's part of the territory, isn't it? Yeah. You know, you don't hold that against them. You see the hurt that they're in, and you know the God who can help them out of that.
Yeah, and so you can almost feel that heart reaction if it's having that effect on them. That something's being stirred up in there somewhere, even if it's not the fruits that you want from it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's either good or it's evil, right? You know, why is it causing such a reaction in a human being to physically assault someone if it's not the case? Do you know what I mean? Surely anyone with half a brain is to look at that and say, well, there must be something in this, whether it's good or not, and whether you think it's Jesus or don't, acknowledge that there has to be something in that for that to happen.
And did you view Christian rap as a thing at this point, or is it just like, because do you know what, it's like so often I meet Christian rappers are like, yeah, I thought it was the first one, like same. No, it goes like that, man, it goes like that.
Do you know, I was, it was really funny because I think after I became a Christian, and I was thinking about, like, I found myself naturally rapping about God because I was rapping about what was real. And I remember going home, and this was like the first month or two of actually really being a Christian. I went home and I rapped a spliff because no one had told me otherwise. I thought, well, can't Christians smoke weed? I don't know.
Where does it say that?
I wasn't being mentored or discipled at the time or anything. I didn't know any better. I rapped a spliff, and as I was rapping a spliff, I felt God speak to me and say, "What are you doing?" And in my heart, and I was just like,
that conviction got you.
Just rapping a spliff, God. That's just what I do. And I felt God say, why are you doing that? And I said, to write a rap which will glorify you. And God said, yeah, but you don't need that to do that, to glorify me. It's not a works thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh. And then I remember in my heart praying, well, where am I going to get my inspiration from? And I felt God say, who do you think you're going to get your inspiration from?
It's mad, right?
And as a result, I lost all desire or want or need to do anything like that. Actually, I was just like, well, actually, I don't really need that. And it came to a point, actually, the smell was just repulsing me. So I just couldn't be around it at all. You know, it became that, it's like toxic to me in a weird way. So, yeah, and I felt God called me to do Christian rap music, you know, and I was just like, but God, who else does this? Where do I start? I just felt God say, trust me. Yeah. Trust me, walk by faith, trust me. I was like, all right, God, you're the boss, you know, my life's for you, whatever you say. You know, submit and surrender, that's the way to do it, that's the way to live the Christian life. You don't win arguments for Jesus.